Welcome back to Simplifying the State. I'm Adam Watson.
I'm Nicholas Parham.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the races that could decide the Senate and how that kind of looks after the election. We're going to be talking about the town hall Kamala Harris did in Pennsylvania, and we're going to be talking about reports that Trump possibly quoted Hitler. I know, that's hard to believe. Okay, so first we're going to be talking about the Senate electoral math, kind of where that is, where that stands 9-ish days out from the election. So right now, the Republicans, according to 538, are favored to take the House in their projections and their models. They win the Senate. They win the Senate 88 times out of 100. The Democrats only win control 12 times out of 100. And so on the reasons that were cited for this, they look at a couple different factors, but overall the Republicans have a slightly better map, because they're definitely going to win West Virginia, they're probably going to win Montana, and then all they have to do is hold on to Texas, Florida, and Nebraska, and then they can maintain a majority. So Democrats right now, when they look at the map, they're looking at a couple things. One, they're looking at winning all of the Senate seats in the swing states, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. They're looking at maintaining their Senate seat in Ohio, which is considered up in the air. And then they're looking at possibly flipping Texas and or Florida. And then, slightly unrelated, there is an independent running in Nebraska's Senate seat at large. Not at large, their main Senate seat, not the 2nd District Senate seat, who is running as an independent, who is only about 0.8% behind the Republicans. So that's something that they're possibly looking at. Him winning and then possibly caucusing with them, meaning like he votes with them. So, Nicholas, what do you think about the kind of where the Senate race is at right now?
Right now, it definitely seems like to be in the Republicans' favor. There are some scenarios where the Democrats at least keep a tie in the Senate. However, it's definitely in the Republicans' favor. With the Nebraska thing, if the independent decides to caucus with the Democrats, then that is some good news for the Democrats, and they would at least remain a tie there if nothing else changes. However, if the Democrats lose in some other potential places, then the Republicans will gain a majority, and yeah.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Kamala Harris's town hall that she did the other day in Pennsylvania with Anderson Cooper and CNN. So, right now, 9 days out, these are the Harris campaign's top issues, like just kind of looking at electorally. So the first one is that, Trump has gained a slight lead, not lead really, but he's closed the gap in the swing states and even a little bit nationally. So kind of closing the gap from where they were in September or August. So that's an issue. She is still slightly unknown. That's a thing voters say they still have an issue with her. She's not well known. And an issue, like if you look at voters and like who they need to appeal to, right now Harris is struggling with men right now, especially young men, young Black men, young Latino men. So that's an area that she is hoping to pick up some support. I think this town hall in Pennsylvania with the undecided voters, swing voters, etc., I think it was a very good idea based on what I heard. There were kind of two sides to how it went. The first one was what the pundits said, which is they thought she didn't do a fantastic job. They think she didn't do what she needed to do. And then other people who were actually in the town hall, the actual undecided voters, thought she did well. I was listening to one woman who said that she voted for Trump in 2020. She was an independent now, and now she's voting for her after hearing her, and she thought she was a good person, liked her policies a little bit, not all of them, but she just thought she was a genuinely good person. I think that that's kind of an asset for the Harris campaign because it seems like when she goes in front of undecided voters, she, seems to do well. People seem to just like her. So, Nicholas, what do you think the possible benefits of this town hall could be?
With this town hall, Harris is reaching out to undecided voters, and those undecided voters, like the woman in the crowd that you said, might change their minds to vote for Harris rather than Trump, or another candidate for that matter. And from what I heard about the town hall, Harris mainly took it the safe approach to it and didn't really define her policies, and mostly said what an outcome of a Trump presidency would be in her mind, um, and mainly just tried to be her own personality and have people take a liking to her. So in that, I think she did pretty well. However, I think the lack of a clear policy might dissuade some potential voters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one issue that people had was that she seemed to shy away from more uh, like I, like taking a bolder stance on stuff. Like she kind of played it safe, which I mean is not bad if she had gotten a bold question and then gotten a really good answer, given a really good answer. That probably would have broken through in clips and audio and stuff like that, and then the campaign could share it. I mean, it's all part of the closing week's message that we're seeing from both campaigns. I mean, putting the foot on the gas here when it comes to what they're doing. Last night, Harris was in Texas. She was doing a rally with Beyonce. They got like 30,000 people. Last night, Trump also did a rally. Before that, he recorded an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, and it's very interesting, though, real quick to get off topic, it's very interesting to see how the media landscape has kind of changed and how the candidates are focusing a lot on podcasts now. Because, I mean, you have Harris she was doing a podcast blitz. Trump definitely did a podcast blitz. And it's just very interesting to see how the media landscape has changed and shifted from traditional cable news shows to podcasts and stuff like that. And I mean, hey, if they want to come on here and be a guest on our show, that's great too. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on now to our final topic, which is the report from the New York Times, where the former Trump Chief of Staff John Kelly told the New York Times that Trump fits the definition of a fascist. So it was a very interesting thing to kind of see because, I mean, this is kind of the first time a former chief of staff for a president has come out and said that this guy kind of fits the definition of a fascist. Uh, so in the report, John Kelly, who was the former chief of staff for Donald Trump, he was a retired four-star general, said told to the New York Times that Trump fit the definition of a fascist, that he was concerned about the president and a possible kind of second term. Uh, Nicholas, what do you think about the report and and the impact it could have on the election?
Well, anyone being called a fascist, especially by someone who used to work with them, is not in a very good light for them. Especially, well, not especially, but this could mean some pretty dire consequences for Trump and his campaign. However, his former chief of staff had been saying things like this for I'm not sure how long, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe more than a month, and that hasn't seemed to affect Trump much. However, because it is much more on the headlines now and in a lot of other people's minds, then this could have an impact on the ending election.
Right, right. I think there's kind of a difference when it comes to our media environment when somebody gives like a quote in an article online, that's one thing. But I think actually sitting down in front of like a camera and giving a TV interview, giving an actual interview, getting sounds to go with that, I think it adds like a whole new level to the just kind of ability for people to see it, because not everybody's going to sit down and read a 3-paragraph NBC News article about this thing. But I mean, maybe people will sit down and watch a 2-minute interview or a 4-minute interview or a TikTok clip from the interview, and so then that definitely gives it an ability to be circulated on social media. There was another quote that I thought was interesting from this, which is Kelly described him as kind of a man who lacks even a basic appreciation for the fundamentals of democracy. He said, quote, "He's certainly the only president that has all but rejected what America is all about and what makes America America in terms of our Constitution, in terms of our values, the way we look at everything to include family and government. He's certainly the only president that I know of, certainly in my lifetime, that was like that," unquote. So that was interesting. And then also interesting is that about 13, I think it was 13 people, former Trump administration officials, signed an open letter, which basically backed up John Kelly's criticism of Trump. The quote, though, that we were referring to when he praised Hitler, he was talking about how he quote wanted generals like Hitler had, unquote, uh, which definitely, if true, is a very concerning thing to say for a former president to say. Uh, so, I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, the interview could absolutely cause more of an effect than a quote in an article. And with the signed letter with 13, was it?
Yeah, 13.
Former people who worked under Trump. That could definitely cause a change of minds in some people and bring it to light for a lot of other people and verify it as well. So yeah, that could have a big impact on the president and the presidential election.
Right. Okay. All right. Before we go, election day is just 10 days out. So if you are registered to vote, please do so. Find out where your polling place is. Go out and vote. Vote early if you can. But yeah, that's the best way to make sure that your voice and opinion is heard. Every election is important, whether it's for president or county assessor. Your voice is important, so get out there and vote. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week to talk about the final week before Election Day. I know it's already upon us. So tune in then. Talk to you soon.